The phone vibrated at 3:07 a.m., and the room answered with a cold hush. Lena said not tonight, but the tagged video opened itself like a wound. Confetti shimmered on a stranger's screen. Sienna leaned in and blew out Ethan's candles. His arm circled her waist as if it always lived there. Ethan said, "Wish you were here," and the words caved Lena's chest. The caption echoed like a dare, and the cake smoke curled into her dark. Lena said, "Tell me this is a joke," and the fan ticked like a countdown. The city breathed rain against the window, and the clip looped. Her thumb hovered over call, and the promise in her calendar felt like a lie. The clip restarts, and the cheer hits like metal on marble. Lena said, "It's a work thing," but the word bent in her mouth. The candles flare, die, and flare again. Memory drags her to last winter's promise. Ethan said, "Next year I'll be there first." Her ceiling fan drills the seconds into dust. She rewinds until laughter loses edges and becomes static. She studies Sienna's smile as if it held an alibi. Lena said he would never choose a party over me. The city sighs in wet neon, and the night refuses to end. The phone warmth pools in her palm like guilt. She scrolls their thread, and the bubbles feel like fossils. Ethan said, "On my way Friday. Your birthday, your city, your cake." She inhales the words like oxygen and tastes ash. Lena said, "Gate B17, I'll be the girl in the dumb party hat." He sent a heart. Then silence grew teeth. She pinches to zoom on the ticket he never used. She imagines the click of his suitcase against her hull. The phone heats under her grip, and her hope thins. Lena said, "You promise to a screen that cannot promise back." Jordan picks up on the first ring like he never sleeps either. Jordan said, "Call him now." Lena said, "If he's guilty, his voice will shake." He says her voice already is. She laughs without humor and curls the blanket. Jordan said, "You deserve certainty, not guesses." She hears the city hiss, and the room shrinks to a tunnel. Lena said, "What if certainty breaks me worse?" Jordan says the truth breaks once and lies break every day. The fan ticks, and she imagines a clock with no hands. A second tag lands like a hammer. The new clip snaps wide to Sienna's laugh. She leans in and steals the wish again. Ethan said, "One more for the real," and the room tilts. Lena said, "It's his birthday, and I am the ghost." The candles smear into comets on her screen. She hears a chorus of strangers using his name. Lena said, "I waited for your plane, not your party." The loop ends, and the silence jabs her ribs. The night finally admits it is morning. Lena stacked shifts until her bones buzzed, folding clothes under flickering fluorescence, pouring coffee for strangers who never knew she carried oceans in her chest. She whispered into the dark, "We're building something real." Ethan once said, "This distance is temporary, us is forever." She believed it with devotion, sharp enough to bleed. Nights blurred into mornings, her hands raw, her body sore, but she replayed his voice notes like lullabies. Each laugh in her ear felt worth another hour, another missed meal, another saved mile. She told herself, every shift is closer to him. Yet when she closed her eyes, the silence after work weighed heavier than the overtime pay. Ethan said, "Distance is just a phase." Lena replied, "Then I'll be the phase that lasts," clutching the plane ticket she'd bought with money saved from double shifts. She pinned it to the wall, her armor against loneliness. The paper curled at the edges, her breath brushing over it night after night. She whispered, "This proves love is real," and ran her fingers over the barcode as if prayer beads. She imagined the beep at the gate, the moment she'd see him, balloons in one hand, ridiculous hat in the other. She laughed alone at the thought, then sighed, "We'll laugh at this someday." That dream kept her moving when exhaustion begged her to stop. She learned time zones like a second language. Breakfast at dawn was his midnight snack. Her lunch break became his commute. Her midnight became his morning train. Lena said, "If you sleep, I'll stay awake." Ethan promised. If you wake, I'll stay tired with you. She taped a calendar to her fridge, every square filled with his schedule, her meals orbiting his hours. Red circles glowed like fire against the gray weeks. Each call became oxygen, every minute stretched into eternity between rings. She whispered, "We're stitched by clocks, not miles." Yet when silence came, it was louder than oceans, filling her chest with dread she buried under devotion. Jordan sat cross-legged on her floor, phone between them glowing with Ethan's photo. He said, "You orbit him." Lena smiled at the picture as if it breathed, whispering, "It's not orbiting, it's faith." Jordan's brow furrowed, his voice gentle but firm. "Faith doesn't answer texts." She whispered back, "Faith is why I wait." He leaned back, arms crossed, biting his tongue, unwilling to push further but unable to watch her sink deeper. The air between them carried tension thick as rope. Lena clutched the phone to her chest like a heartbeat, saying, "He's my forever, even if he's far." Jordan's silence carried the truth she wouldn't let in. Her family's warnings arrived like storm clouds. Love close to home is safer. Tradition matters more than distance. Lena read them aloud, whispering to herself, "I'd rather be brave than safe." The words felt sharp but honest. She stared at her reflection in the dark TV screen, seeing both defiance and fear staring back. Her mother's voice replayed in memory, "Don't waste years on ghosts." Lena pressed her phone against her lips, whispering, "He's not a ghost, he's my future." Outside, sirens painted the street red, their glow seeping through blinds, as if echoing her unrest. She knew love had become rebellion, and rebellion always came with scars. The messages thinned like air at altitude. Ethan once sent paragraphs, now he sent half-faces, cropped emojis, and abrupt tile endings. Calls cut with battery excuses. Lena said, "Your silence is heavier than words." She counted the minutes between texts, mapping absence like constellations. Ethan said, "Work's draining me." She whispered, "It's draining us too." Her unsent paragraphs swelled, thumb hovering before delete. Lena said, "Do I keep begging for scraps?" The phone buzzed, a friend's ad, not him, and her chest dropped. Every vibration became a trick. She muttered, "I used to hear you in every ping. Now I just hear empty rooms echoing back." Sienna crept closer with every photo. She stood blurred behind Ethan, holding drinks, laughing in office snapshots. Lena whispered, "Why is she always there?" Ethan said, "She's just a co-worker." The word tasted spoiled. Lena studied her lipstick, her hand brushing Ethan's sleeve, her smile tilted toward him. Lena said, "You'd laugh too if someone wanted to take your place." Ethan chuckled, "Don't be dramatic." His ease sliced sharper than knives. Lena replayed the images until they were evidence. She whispered, "I shouldn't need proof to feel secure." Still, her chest tightened each time Sienna's silhouette appeared, a ghost turning solid. Flight prices soared, and Ethan's excuses stacked higher. Lena said, "I have miles saved, use mine." He answered, "Too much chaos at work." He sent photos of balloons and cake, smiles she hadn't crafted. Lena whispered, "You're already celebrating without me." Ethan said, "It's nothing, just office stuff." Her untouched suitcase leaned against the wall, accusing her with silence. She traced its zipper like a scar, whispering, "You should be packing, not postponing." She stared at the suitcase until dawn, imagining him boarding every plane that wasn't hers. Each unzipped corner mocked her faith. She muttered, "I'm the only one traveling here." Jordan leaned against her counter with folded arms. "I need Daniel Bertockel," he said. If he wanted to, he would. Lena snapped, "He does, he's just buried." She smoothed Ethan's sweater, fingertips lingering on every crease. Jordan said, "Buried men don't grin with women in red dresses." She winced but pressed the fabric to her chest. Lena whispered, "This still smells like him." Jordan sighed, "So does betrayal." His bluntness cut her, but denial cushioned her fall. The silence between them thickened until the hum of her fridge filled the room like static. She whispered, "If I let go of this sweater, maybe I lose him completely." The night before her birthday, his text arrived. "Quick office party tonight, then I pack. Promise." Lena read it again, until the letters blurred. She whispered, "I wanted you, not promises." Midnight bled across her blinds, dividing hope from despair. She imagined him laughing at a bar while she sat alone with a candle she hadn't lit. Her chest felt hollow, ribs ringing with silence. She said, "If you loved me, you'd already be on your way." The phone dimmed, her face vanishing into the dark screen. The world waited with her, but he did not. The video filled her screen like a betrayal she couldn't mute. Ethan had sworn the night was just a quick thing, but Lena saw balloons, laughter, and a cake bigger than her hope. Streamers curled across desks, music pulsed through speakers, and faces beamed around him. Sienna leaned in, breath curling over the candles, stealing the wish Lena had waited months to hold. Ethan's arm rested at her waist with easy ownership, a touch that once belonged to Lena alone. She froze the frame, pixels tearing into her trust. He once said, "Nobody else matters." Now, another face lit his night. She whispered, "He promised me," then celebrated with her. The clip looped, tearing deeper each time. She zoomed on his wrist, where the engraved watch gleamed like evidence. The gift she bought with rent money whispered betrayal under fluorescent light. Sienna's hand brushed it, and Lena's stomach twisted. Ethan once said, "Every time I check the time, I think of you." Now the same hands ticked through someone else's laughter. Lena whispered, "Even my mark belongs to her now." The crowd blurred into meaningless blur. All she saw was a metal face counting down to the end of her faith. The watch wasn't just an object, it was a wound catching light. She muttered, "I gave you permanence, and you gave me this." His call came late, music still roaring. Ethan's voice rushed, "It's not like that." Lena shouted, "Then why does it look exactly like that?" Laughter and clinking glasses bled into the speaker, smothering truth. She pressed the phone to her ear like she could crush the noise. Ethan muttered, "You're overreacting." The words scraped her chest raw. She hissed, "You promised me, not them." Her voice cracked under fury and grief. Silence answered heavier than noise. She whispered, "If I mattered, you'd be here." Instead, Sienna's laugh sliced through again, a blade sharper than confession. A stranger's DM flashed across her screen. "Girl, I thought you knew he was seeing Sienna." Her breath fractured, chest collapsing under words typed by someone she didn't know. She whispered, "The world knew before I did." Ethan once said, "You'll always be my only." Now strangers rewrote the script of her life with blunt certainty. Lena reread the message until the letters bled into her skin. Shame carved deeper than grief, humiliation boiling like acid. She muttered, "I guarded us, and he gave it away." The DM glowed mercilessly, proof delivered by a witness with no reason to lie. Ethan said, "I'm flying at dawn." But behind him, Sienna's voice chimed, "Stay for the after-party." Music swelled, drowning his words. Lena pressed the phone to her chest, whispering, "Your flight was supposed to be for me." She sat in silence as the party claimed him, each note tearing her further. Ethan repeated, "I'll make it right." But the promise collapsed under laughter that wasn't hers. The call cut, leaving only her reflection on the black screen. Lena whispered, "The ticket was never meant for me." In that silence she realized she hadn't lost him. He had already left long ago. Lena's voice cracked under the weight of everything she had swallowed for months. She said, "You promised to fly for my birthday." Ethan's words came muffled through cheers and bass. "I didn't plan this, I was trapped." His excuse dissolved in the noise. She pressed her phone so hard to her ear, her knuckles whitened. Lena whispered, "I'm the one trapped in waiting, in hoping, while you blow out candles with her." Ethan said, "It's not what it looks like." Her reply shot sharp, It looks exactly like Betrayal. The laughter in the background hammered his lie flat. Her chest ached, torn between begging him to mean it and daring him to admit he didn't. She didn't hold back this time. Screenshots lined up like weapons. The engraving on his watch, the blurred kiss of Sienna's hand near his sleeve, the timestamps that betrayed his alibi. She spat, "Every lie casts a shadow, and I've caught all of yours." Ethan went silent, long enough for her to hear her own pulse hammering. Then his voice flat, "You're making this bigger than it is." Lena laughed, hollow and jagged. "Bigger? My love shrank itself to fit you, and still it wasn't small enough." The stillness after her words cut deeper than shouting. This was the silence of someone guilty, and of someone finished. Jordan's voice cut through the chaos like a blade. "Say what you need, Lena." She held the phone as if it might shatter and whispered, "I need you to choose." Dawn slid across the blinds, painting the room in bleeding pinks. Ethan hesitated, his breath dragging like chains. He muttered, "Don't corner me like this." Lena closed her eyes, whispering, "I cornered myself waiting for you." Jordan said nothing, his silence becoming both judgment and permission. She exhaled, voice trembling, "You either love me, or you love the comfort of lying." The hiss of the line carried her ultimatum into the quiet, where hope went to die. Ethan scrambled, voice brittle with desperation. "I'll switch to the next flight. I'll fix this." Lena tilted her head back, exhaustion etched into her bones. She whispered, "I wanted you last night, not your apology layover." His voice cracked, "I can make it right." She whispered, softer but sharper, "You can't rewind promises." The room felt emptier than before, the silence louder than his excuses. Her chest loosened, not from hope but from release. For the first time she realized she wasn't begging anymore. She wasn't pleading for him to come back, she was learning how to let him go. Ethan snapped, voice raw with anger, "You don't trust me." Lena's reply cut sharper, "I trusted you enough to wait." The call ended in static, then silence, leaving her with the hollow dial tone that throbbed like a wound. She didn't move at first. Her phone remained pressed to her ear, screen black, as if her body refused to believe he was gone. The ceiling fan spun above, its shadow slicing across her face like a scar. She whispered, "This is the sound of us ending." The room didn't argue. For the first time, the silence wasn't him punishing her. It was her freedom answering back. The cake order sat on the counter like a cruel joke, its frosting still perfect, untouched. Lena had cancelled the second share at the restaurant, but went anyway, staring across the table at the empty seat, as though absence itself could be honored. Waiters moved around her, careful not to look too long, their pity hanging like perfume. Later at home, she cut into the cake alone, tasting the word Lena piped in neat sugar letters, the sweetness turning bitter on her tongue. She whispered, "I saved this day for us, and now I eat it like medicine." The silence became her only guest, steady and merciless, and it reminded her this was her true gift, truth disguised as ruin. Her phone buzzed with messages stacked like warnings, her mother's stern reminder, her aunt's cautious scolding, her cousin's clipped concern. Love close to home is safer. Tradition matters. Each word tried to anchor her in expectations she had already drowned in. Lena read them twice, then whispered, "I'm not broken, I'm choosing." She pulled Ethan's hoodie from her chair, folding it slow, pressing the fabric flat as if closing a wound by hand. Her aunt's voice echoed, "Better pain now than ruin later." Lena whispered, "I'd rather carry scars than chains." The tape ripped as she sealed the box, and in that rip she heard her heartbeat catching up to her strength. Jordan met her at the cafe, face soft but steady. He said, "You can unfollow hope." Lena gave him a faint smile, more scar than joy. "Hope can follow me somewhere I'm wanted." The smell of burnt coffee hung heavy as the city hummed beyond the window. Jordan leaned closer, voice low but firm, "You're stronger without him." She shook her head, whispering, "I'm stronger because I finally know without him." The words surprised her. They felt solid, not fragile. For the first time, her voice didn't tremble when she said his name. She stirred her untouched drink, realizing she wasn't just grieving, she was building. Ethan's message arrived one day late, outside your place. But Lena wasn't there. She was at the Riverwalk, wind tugging her jacket, air thick with the smell of rain and rust. She whispered, "I waited long enough." The skyline shimmered across dark water, reflections shaking with each ripple like promises unraveling. She slipped her phone into her pocket, unread reply glowing faint. Sienna's laugh echoed in her head, but this time it didn't sting, it just passed like traffic. Lena lifted her face to the wind, the ache still there but softened, stretched wide like the horizon. For the first time, she wasn't measuring distance, she was breathing freedom. She typed "go home" into her phone, the words sharp, final. Her thumb hovered before she deleted it. Instead, she wrote, "Take care." The message turned delivered, then read, then nothing. She whispered, "That's all I have left to give." Her chest loosened, not with joy, but with release, the kind that felt like air after drowning. She set the phone down and let silence fill the room. For months, silence had been punishment. Now, it was her companion. Outside, the city glowed with indifferent light. She looked at her reflection in the window, soft and steady, and for the first time, the world wasn't waiting for him, it was waiting for her. The apartment was too quiet, like a stage abandoned after the play. Lena scrolled back to the first words Ethan had sent, lines once memorized, read during bus rides, whispered like prayers in hospital waiting rooms. She whispered, "You sounded like forever back then." Her chest tightened as emojis blinked back. Smiling suns, strings of "I miss you" plans etched in digital ink that now mocked her. She remembered nights pressing his words to her lips, as if they could breathe her to sleep. Now those words sat dead on the screen. Her thumb trembled before pressing delete. One by one, sentences dissolved, the past erased into blankness. He once swore, "You'll never lose me." She muttered, "I already did." The silence that followed wasn't just quiet. It was a gravestone carved in pixels. She carried the box like a coffin, each step echoing on wet pavement. Inside lay the relics of devotion, his hoodie that smelled of airports, letters smudged by her tears, ticket stubs of places they never went together. She whispered, "This is my offering to freedom." The night pressed cold against her skin, smelling of rain, gasoline, and iron. At the donation bin, the lid slammed metallic, the sound too final, too loud. She flinched as if it were a gunshot. Ethan once said, "Keep me close, always." Her breath caught, muttering, "Closeness killed me." A couple laughed as they walked past, unaware they had passed a funeral. Her arms shook, hands empty, lighter and trembling at once. She didn't look back. Each step away felt like cutting a chain. The train rattled, its fluorescent lights flickering, windows reflecting neon streaks. Lena's gaze locked on her reflection, face pale, eyes red but unflinching. For months she had seen absence staring back, now she saw herself, scarred yet undeniably present. She whispered, "This face belongs to me again." Ethan's old tease lingered, "You wear me like a second skin." Tonight her skin was her own, glowing faint silver under the flicker. Her phone stayed in her pocket, heavy but untouched. For the first time, her hands rested open, unoccupied, resting like they remembered freedom. The city blurred in streaks of red and gold outside, but she sat still, a storm finally quieted. The train wasn't carrying her away from him, it was carrying her toward herself. The cafe smelled of burnt espresso and cinnamon, the same place she once scribbled love notes onto napkins she never mailed. The chair across from her sat empty, not haunted, just empty. Jordan leaned forward, his voice soft. "Does it still hurt?" Lena gave him a faint smile, stitched together with scar tissue. "Yes," she admitted, "but it doesn't chain me anymore." She turned her phone face down, its weight less than it had ever been. Around her steam hissed, strangers laughed, cups clattered. the music of a life that had kept moving even when she stood still. For the first time, she didn't resent the sound. She lifted her cup, realizing survival was never about waiting. It was about daring to step into the noise again. Final blow. That night she sat by her window, the skyline fractured in neon and fog. Her forehead pressed against the cool glass as her chest slowed to the rhythm of the city. The phone lit with his name one last time, cutting through the dark. She didn't move. The screen glowed, then dimmed, then vanished, leaving her reflection staring back, faint and unbroken. She whispered, "And that was the last time his name ever lit up my phone." The words didn't quiver. They cut, sharp as glass, final as stone. Tears slid freely, not weakness but release. Outside, sirens howled, headlights streaked, the world surged forward. Inside, her silence reigned. For months she thought her story was about waiting for him. Tonight, she knew it was about choosing herself, and she finally did.